It's Wednesday, August 12th, 2020, and this is the Jaking Off Show. The Jaking Off Show is brought to you by the homies over at patreon.com. Go to patreon.com/jakingoffshow and find out how you can donate as little as $1 a month to help this podcast grow. Now, I want to thank Mikos Zavros for his recent small donation. Thank you very much, Mikos. Now, Mikos Zavros, he's a filmmaker, producer, and overall artiste. He was on the Jaking Off Show earlier before COVID, when things were normal, and I was a total greenhorn, and episodes were audio. I didn't have the camera equipment that I have now, and because of the donations, thank you guys very much, I have more equipment and stuff. So, he talks about his movie, Group Lotto. On the podcast, we talked about the movie. We were bullshitting for an hour and change, and he submitted this film to something called the Bridgefest. Now it's a film festival, and it's just like any other film festival. You submit your film, it gets looked at by big wigs, big shots, or whatever. And the winner of the big contest or the film festival or whatever, you get some money, some bragging rights, a trophy or whatever, and the Jaking Off Show was, what I wanted it to be about was about supporting other artists and getting the word out on their creative works. Now, since I've moved, I don't have any friends out here. So I'm going to go ahead and just do them a solid and re-upload the older episode. And I'm going to tweak the audio a little bit. I didn't quite know what I was doing before in the original upload. But now I have the whereabouts. I got the reps in me. I kind of know what the fuck I'm doing now. So, without further ado, here's the homeboy, Mikos Zavros. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for being here, and thanks for waking up.
Yes.
thanks for being here with me, man. No, I really appreciate it. No, before we started rolling, talking about trucks and all that stuff, it's already happening to me. These new washing machines got installed in my building. You know how washing machine?
Put
quarters in the washing machine.
The quarters in. We have $50 worth of. Well, maybe not anymore. But.
So those quarters eventually fill up, and someone has to go and unlock the machine and get the quarters out. That guy has a job. That guy gets in his truck with a bag full of quarters or whatever, and now the washing machine has a QR fucking code on it. You scan it.
Yep.
You put your bank info on this random app. I don't know how secure this thing is.
Yeah.
And you put like $1.25 on it or whatever, and you fucking do your laundry. Because the fucking quarter slot's gone, and I have all these quarters, and I don't know what to do with them now.
Isn't that crazy?
And that guy is out of a job.
I'd say car wash.
Robots. Yeah.
I'd say car wash, but you don't have a car, do you?
No, I don't have a car. It's a washing machine for my fucking clothes. Like I have to go to an app to do my laundry now?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, So now...
What is this shit?
Well, it's interesting we were talking about the trucks, but here's what's happening too. So with trucks, you need dispatchers, right?
Right.
So you have a dispatcher on either end of the city. You're going to Memphis, you're going to drop off some DVD players. And then from Memphis, you pick up washing machines, and then you're going to drop those off in Chicago. So you have people that are like, okay, you're going to get in about 3:10. You can pick up these washing machines, and I'm going to hook you up to the Chicago liaison, whatever. So there are people that manage these routes and pickups. And,
also, you got to pay a guy to fix these things when they break.
That's true. But now the truckers can use an app to do their own pickup and drop-offs. So now those middlemen that do that job, guess what? Their jobs are going away too.
Yeah.
So now you have this AI, it's an app. So the truckers are using apps. So those jobs are being phased out already. And then when the trucks finally get autonomous,
That's where I mean, not to get too political, but like even Yang was kind of talking about what we were talking about, the trucks,
trucks,
and how like it's it's a good idea on paper, but is that all you got?
Well, look, part of the issue is that the attitudes. I'm going to have to bring up capitalism. The attitudes that have formed around capitalism is that you have to be a worker bee and you have to pull, quote unquote, pull your weight. So that, you don't deserve anything unless you're part of the workforce.
Yeah, but those elements will go away, and then
but that's a problem. So
with
now,
those people,
but this is what exposes the dark underbelly of capitalism. They're about the bottom line is making money. Let me just say this, all right? Capital is money. Number one, you can't have capital without labor.
Right.
But capital is money. So capitalism is moneyism.
Right.
Socialism, means people.
Yeah.
Socialism means peopleism.
And robots don't need food.
Robots don't need food. They need
robots
maintenance. They need maintenance and juice and batteries and But and so that's where you gotta switch your. That's who's going to be employed. But they're not. One guy could service.
Their skill set.
One guy could service 20 robots, depending upon what type of they are. So, and if you're a truck driver, you might be a truck driver because you like to do simpler manual labor things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But are you going to have the capability to learn something new? Maybe, but there's still not going to be enough jobs. They're not.
And that's where his $1,000 a month thing comes in. I'm like, that's a good idea on paper, but it's a whole other thing.
Well, you know what that does is that props up capitalism, because that's like saying, well, here's some money, now go spend it.
Exactly.
Which the poor people will do. They're not going to be investing it offshore.
Whether it's out of necessity or not, the random car payment occasionally happens. That's got to go.
Well, even if you could save that $1,000, your transmission can go out. Or
shit happens.
Shit happens.
Shit happens.
You break a leg or something.
Yeah, it's shit happens money.
Yeah,
I got shit happens money.
Yeah.
I'm like pretend broke.
Oh.
I behave poorer than I actually am. I kind of tricked myself a little bit.
I get it. Yeah.
Like I can buy some. I could buy groceries that are a little bit more expensive. That's a little bit more gourmet. That's where I go the extra mile sometimes. Like I'll just make better food.
Yeah.
Because it's you're paying shit money. You're paying for shit food too. If you think about it. So like I go the extra to have good quality food on my plate. But I don't spend money on other things like booze or really dating, which is kind of a mistake. I make sacrifices.
Dating is expensive.
Or even when it goes back to just like not to take this personal to any of my friends, but sometimes I just don't agree to hanging out because I don't want to spend the money to. Not because you're not important in my life, but I'm too broke.
Yeah.
I can do it.
You're operating.
I'm putting the money's to something more important. My friends are going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lose them or whatever.
You're just your operating expenses, so your threshold, your ceiling, is lower. Yeah.
Like I've got and I have money in case I'm pigeonholed suddenly.
Yeah.
I've got I've got enough. Like if something terrible happens, I can recover very quickly.
You have 3 months.
Yeah.
That's what they say. You should have 3 months.
I have 2 months worth.
All right.
I have 2 months worth, and it could get me out of a hole.
You know what?
But not. It could be fuck you money too, but it's not.
Yeah.
Well,
a lot of people don't have that.
A lot of people don't have fuck you money.
Yeah. No.
Or that extra $1,000.
Or the
some people don't
a lot
have
of people. People with families are like a paycheck away from the streets.
Yeah. My sacrifice is I don't have a car.
Right.
And it'd be nice. I could get one right now. I would just have to live in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it would just more money, more problems.
Yeah.
I don't make
insurance
enough
and gas
shit like that. Yeah, shit like that. And gas is like $5.
Do you use those scooters? Do you use them?
No, not gonna.
They're
not
really
gonna.
cheap though.
They're dirt cheap, I know, but they're dumb. They're just dumb. I don't. Can you imagine coming out of a bar and seeing like 8 of those parked in a line, and some guy gets a bright idea? Hey, let's take the scooter to
That's
my
not
place.
a bright idea.
It's not a bright idea.
Liquored up.
On Ventura Boulevard, there's lines of them parked up like
they're
by bus
everywhere
stops
now.
and stuff, and they're in front of bars.
That's
You know, I don't know if and they got flashlights and stuff, and people do take them out on the road. Not as many cars are on the road at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
And you're not, there's no helmets.
No helmets.
So...
Not a lot of people walking, but there's people walking around, and it's dark. You know, I'm not on board.
All right.
I'm not on board. I don't want, like, a lot of young kids are doing it.
Yes, it's always, of course.
And I'm not old, but I'm not young either. I'm only 28, but it's still like, that seems too childish.
I don't want to...
In a way. It seems too immature.
You're not at the stage where mortality is an issue, but certainly medical bills come to your mind.
Yeah, it's kind of like what the moped was.
Yeah,
mopeds?
Yeah.
A lot of Italians use those.
Ciao.
Yeah, those little like fucking go-karts.
Right.
At least those got trunk space. You could carry some stuff on it. You know. It's a bitch bike.
That's funny. That's that Eddie Izzard did a whole thing on that.
Oh my God.
Italians, they just run around on scooters. Ciao. It was
not the New York Italians, not the ones that.
You're gonna catch me on no scooter, all right? You know.
I didn't see those when I was in New York, but then again, I haven't lived in New York in.
I'm sure
in a long time.
They've got to be.
Someone said that they came out of San Diego.
That makes sense.
They were in San Diego before they were in L.A.
That makes sense.
How so? I haven't lived in San Diego, and you've lived in a lot of places.
I haven't lived there. I've been down there though for some kind of convention I went down there for.
Maybe Comic-Con?
No, I can't remember. Maybe it was a Star Trek convention.
The one you went with Kristen?
Yeah. Well, I've been to a couple of it, but those were... See, I've been a couple in Vegas, and those were... Yeah, so I can't remember the...
Oh, God, I bet those scooters are in Vegas, too.
Yeah.
Probably. Willing to bet. I'm willing to bet in every major city now.
I think so. Yeah. You know, Chicago, New York, Miami.
Homeless can use them as like line 4 up. You can make like a tent.
Yeah.
You know, you know who's riding those things. You don't know who's riding those things, man.
Yeah, you just take you need a thing of Perel, you know. Just lather your hands up before.
And there's guys in trucks that pick them up because they make like a beeping sound and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
so Joe. I don't know if you know Joe.
Joe Kibler.
No.
Joe
Boris.
Joe Boris?
Yeah.
Nope, I can't say I do.
Was it Joe or Kelsey? See, now I'm getting my... Because they're part of my reading group, or my writers group.
Writers group?
Write and...
Is it a writers production bunch?
Almost, but we don't produce any of the stuff.
Right.
Yeah, we just read the scripts. So, but now that I think about it, maybe it was Kelsey that was... she would pick these up and charge them. And that was, she'd get paid for, I don't know if it's per scooter you charge, but yeah, so people go out and you have an app to find them, and you put them on a truck and you bring them home and charge them, and then you put them back out when they're fully charged. So there are people that do that, so there's jobs right there.
It's another mode of transportation, and it's getting we just don't have the wings yet. We're not Blade Runner.
Well, you know, this city was made for cars, right? Because while New York has a great, system for public transit, we discouraged it here because there was a big boom in cars.
Well, there's more space in general.
Well, but that's how it was. Yeah. But it was all made for cars. So the car industry and generally just try to quash any kind of real access to public transportation here because they just want to sell cars. And this was a perfect place. It's new, and so as Los Angeles was being made, that's why it's such a sprawl. Yeah. Which means you almost need a car. Otherwise, you want to get to the west side, that's 2 hours on a bus, on several buses. I did it once because I had a class out there for, whatchamacallit? When you're improv classes. Right?
Classes?
I took some improv classes.
Jesus. So those are fun.
So I was like, yeah, they're great. It's great for everybody. Everyone should take one. But anyways, it was a nightmare. I had to take a train and then the bus here and then you're just sitting there. I couldn't do it. So
I see it as a brain workout.
Well, yeah, you got to take, if you're a writer, then take some,
the
tablet
the
or
juices got to get flowing, and it's different for everybody, and so there's all these different.
Yeah, I mean,
methods.
it's definitely if you've got it's mental time, right? That you can use, But I just was like, I need to get there and see. That's where autonomous car would be fun, because then you could have your own space.
Yeah,
You could zone out,
listen to a podcast, audiobook, or play fucking video games.
Or play video games.
You know how the Tesla's has like an autopilot feature and all that stuff?
Yeah.
So I found that out. And also there are games on the Tesla itself. There's like on like the screen or whatever. Right. You could play like a game of Snake. That old game? Yeah. You could I guess maybe it's possible, I don't know what a Tesla, but you could have that thing in autopilot and play a fucking video game while you're getting to wherever you're going.
Yeah.
And it's just such a like kind of a zone out kind of thing, Well,
yeah. What do
we're zombies.
Used to you had to drive, and your passengers were.
It's not the infected zombie kind of like Kristen's story, but like we're like,
we're
kind of zoned out on the phones and all that stuff.
Plugged in.
We're plugged in.
And,
when the microchips get implemented in us, I'm out. You'll be a hermit.
Well, there was.
Should come with me.
You're talking about mandatory chips?
Mandatory.
Yeah, like I'm not doing that.
If it ever gets to that level, I am out.
There was a company, I can't remember who. I feel like maybe they were a Swedish company that had a party. It had a chip implanting party. So they had some guy come in, and they were putting the chips right there between the thumb.
No, I think. Thanks.
Yeah. But it's easy now. You can go through. You don't need a fob with a card. You just walk right up to the door, and it knows who you are, and you're let into the secure areas.
You could cut that hand off. You could cut that hand off and get into whatever that person's getting into.
Yep, and that's what you might have to do. If, or just knock them out and dig it out.
Oh, you've seen that scene in sci-fi movies where like they're trying to get to the door that needs someone's handprint or whatever, and there's a big fight or whatever. You've seen that in every movie. Where, like,
there's I'm sure there's an eyeball, the retinal scan.
Kind of
I'm sure somebody rips out an eyeball and does that.
Knock out a guard or whatever. Just knock
him
out and then like open his fucking eyes so you can get past the door that he's guarding.
Oh, they
or
did
whatever.
that in Blade Runner.
They did that in Blade Runner?
Blade Runner 2.
Oh, the second one.
The second one.
The second one is like 2049 or something.
2049,
and, that's only less than 30 years from now.
Less than 30 years from now.
And we're past the first one.
We're past the first. Yeah, November was the first. Yeah.
How do you figure that? That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't have any of everything.
Well, what's funny? How wet has it been this year?
How wet has it been?
How wet has it been?
Yeah, that's another one.
Right?
It was benign conversation. Someone's like, "Oh, it's raining again." I'm like, "Bitch, we need it. Like these fires
we
are
really
terrible.
need it.
Like,
Yeah, we do.
Like stop complaining. Like you see a puddle and all of a sudden.
Well, they're so sun. See, I'm not a fan of the sun,
mm-hmm.
although I live out here. So clearly, see how white I am.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm not a fan of the sun. So these are the great months for me, winter.
Yeah.
I just love rain. I love everything.
And you write.
Rain.
You can stay and write and
it's good for writing.
The wheels turning.
Hot cocoa. You open
cuddle weather.
I open the window, even if it's cold. I'll open the window. Still have the heater on.
That's kind of counterproductive.
Not really, because it's fresh air.
If it's a space heater, yes, and fresh air.
Fresh air, and that wet air
that could work.
Feels much fresher than dry.
It smells nicer.
It smells nice.
Yeah.
It looks nicer.
Yeah.
Everything's brighter and
you can actually see
colors, and it's very poetic.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
Fucking
and it's cleansing, and they're kind of metaphoric stuff going on. The cleansing. Invigoration and all that stuff. So.
And, I met you at a strange time in my life. I was going through sort of like a metamorphosis of thought, because I met you like right after I graduated college.
Yeah,
the production bunch. And
bunch.
Yeah, you wrote something called the PC Zone.
The PC Zone.
The PC Zone. Yeah.
Yes.
And like how crazy how like that's always been like an issue, and you wrote that a long time ago.
Right?
What was it, 6 years ago, something
like that? Yeah.
Yeah, and that was I want to tell you, because that's a major. I would call it a synchronicity, or I would call it a sign from the universe, or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I had shelved stand-up comedy for 4 years at that time.
Yeah.
And that was one sign. It was like, maybe I should get back into it.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do it again. But then I just shelved it again. Like, oh, it's just a role for a thing, you know. It's just a
Right,
thing that
yeah.
I'm trying because I'm focusing more on the acting stuff. I was more focused on that. But like that's the first thing I got out of college was this
Yeah.
role of a stand-up comedian. And I'm
That's
like,
hilarious. That's great. Yeah, isn't
yeah.
art
I thought it was a sign,
art
but
imitating life?
I didn't start doing it again until January of this year.
This year,
It's
yeah.
gonna be a year doing comedy next month.
Oh, great.
Yeah, just diving in hard. Like I just
We'll
because
have
I
to have a
shelved it.
party. We'll have to have
I've
a-
shelved it for so long.
Yes.
You know.
Why do we do that?
And
to
and that
ourselves?
thing you wrote was one of like 5 signs
Yeah.
that got me. And the fifth one, the more recent one was like, all right, fuck this.
Yeah.
This is happening too much. Like you said, art imitates life.
Yeah.
Like just it's just in my face now. Now I'm like, okay.
It's
I have
funny
to do this now.
because I've seen you, and
Yeah, thanks for
and-
coming to the
Absolutely
22nd
great.
show.
That was
yeah,
that was fun. That was fun.
I'm there again on the 20th.
20th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different set. I don't know. You don't have to. You don't know. I'm not. No pressure.
Yeah,
You
no
know.
pressure.
I would rather you
Jimmy
come to
show.
a free show that's closer.
Yeah.
To be honest
Well,
with
the
you.
2-drink
Yeah.
minimum is a bit.
I know. Well, that's the thing, and this bothers me because I feel like I'm annoying people because all I fucking post about is posters and show dates and stuff, and sometimes it says
It's a
$10.
tough town because
Yeah.
I was in a stage show a number of years ago, and the guy had a decent thing going because he'd get a whole new crew of people, and
Mm-hmm.
they would bring their friends in, but the show was $20,
Right.
and then you get to keep like 10 of it or something, which is pretty generous, but it's $20, man. You know, like.
right. That's a movie ticket today.
Today it's a movie ticket, and it's like these were black box.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Oh, I've done that too.
you know what I'm
I've done
talking
that
about,
too.
and it's
Yeah.
like $20, and so
The
my
only
friends all
props are
came
some
in free,
chairs. Yeah.
and I didn't make any money, but
Yeah.
that's not why I did it anyways. I mean, like,
Well, the way I see it
Yeah.
is that it says $10 on the poster for the show or whatever the fuck
Yeah.
it is. But whether it's a band, whether it's a comic, whoever, it doesn't matter. It saes $10 on the poster. You are paying $10 to get in. What it's not, what the other expenses is to get there. Parking.
Parking is always
Valet,
an issue
parking,
in LA.
that's another thing.
So they can
There's,
easily be $5 to $10.
The
for
venue has the
parking.
2-drink minimum.
2-drink minimum.
And if you bring a date with you, you got to buy her fucking
You
drink
gotta
too.
buy her 2 drinks.
Or
That's
depending
4 drinks.
whatever, that's 4 drinks, or whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
You take a friend with you, they're spending money too. And if you have kids, oh man, now we got to pay a
Now you need a
babysitter.
babysitter,
And that's
yeah.
$10 an hour.
Yeah.
Just to leave the house for 3 hours, that's another
Jeez.
30 that's out the fucking window, man. So
I'm
yeah,
getting
sure.
anxiety thinking about
Yeah,
it.
$10, sure. And I was talking to Kristen about merch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, she recommended not to get shirts right away, and I agree with her on that. I do
yeah.
agree with her on that. But you need a street team. I want someone to walk away with something because I want to support other artists too.
Yep.
I can't help everybody,
You
but I can help
can't.
somebody.
Yeah.
I'll go see a friend's show like every once in a blue moon because I got the funds to like go have fun once in a
Right,
while.
you got-
you
yeah,
know. But
yeah.
not everybody goes to comedy shows. It's fun is different for different people. Sometimes it's the movies, sometimes it's fucking Disneyland.
Yeah.
People go have fun in other places. Comedy's not like, I wouldn't say it's dying. I don't think it's dying at all.
I don't think it's dying. There's plenty to make fun of, but
Yeah.
I think
Attendance is what I mean. Like it's a little slow.
yeah.
Have you ever been in a band?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like that too.
Oh, the band thing. Jeez.
Yeah, people that come to your fucking to see your music.
come to
or
our
whatever.
show,
Yeah.
and then you get a part of the door, but
Yeah,
when
same
you
thing.
know, yeah, it's
Same thing.
I know about it. It's hard.
It sucks.
It totally sucks because usually you're just not making.
And you're
anything.
thinking like, oh, when
You
is
put
this gonna start?
$5. Everyone gets
Yeah.
$5. It goes in the gas
When's this going
tank.
to start paying off? And I'm trying not to think about that. Like I'm just doing it because
Well, yeah.
I have no other choice.
Yeah.
I have no other choice.
Well,
And
sometimes that's where it's at.
you writing PC Zone, I was thinking back on it.
Yeah, right.
And all the other things that we helped each other with,
And I but I was gonna say I saw your act, and there's such a difference between your character in the PC Zone and who I saw on that stage. You're more of a wild man on stage. It's
Yeah, a
kinda-
little bit crazier.
and you were very much in control in the character, but what I liked about it was you seemed in control and comfortable on stage as an actor.
Uh,
Right.
Yeah.
And so I thought, wow. And it looks like you were just a comedian on the road, that there are, like, hey, there's an open spot,
yeah.
And
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Because I'm
no, it was
actually,
good
I'm
stuff.
actually very fucking scared.
Yeah.
That's, I focus more on hiding my fear. I get scared
Well,
up there.
let me tell you about Barbara Streisand. She used to get so sick and throw up backstage.
Oh yeah, yeah. I would shake.
That was the big.
I couldn't I would get nervous and I cried like 4 hours before I got there. I was like, is people gonna show up? Are they gonna laugh? Am I gonna be funny?
I don't want to say that's hilarious, but it's
it's the nerves, and I use it to my advantage, and
that's what you do. So
I seem calm.
Yeah, but
I'm
really
really
but
not.
it's how you're
I'm
like,
really
"Oh,
not. Well, I'm putting on a show, I'm giving you a show.
And as artists, I think we if you attach yourself too much to the notion that the audience is always rooting for you. I think this is something that you learn,
well, especially if people want to go to a show.
Well, people want to go, but it's kind of like auditions too. You've probably been on auditions, and they're rooting for you because they want you to be the one.
Because they see the same guy 10 times do it.
90% of people do the same thing. That's just what they see on the. They don't go underneath the character. So, it can be, deeply personal, but that's not where you should be.
Yeah,
you have to be okay. I'm just do my thing here and see what happens.
That's kind of my attitude at it now. Is that the chips are going to fall where they may.
Yeah, I mean, all you can do is go out there and do your best, and then adjust when you can. But every audience is different, so you'll have to go through, 100 different types of audiences, and then you'll be able to think on your feet. And do the, So that just comes with time and experience.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
It's really also like when I got out of college and started because you Kristen and Scott and I want Scott on, I want Britton on in the future. But you guys were the first group of people that kind of like I started doing stuff. I started doing stuff, and I was so jaded at the top because I'm from here, and I always had the feeling of like, oh God, this group of folks are from fucking wherever, the Midwest, and I'm thinking like, what are you doing here? I was jaded, but I have a newfound respect for people that aren't from here. They pack their fucking bags and they leave family and friends behind. That's a ballsy move. That's never something I've had to do. Yeah. I've always lived here.
You've always lived here, yeah.
It's always been here. So like people that come in here trying to be stars, I kind of like,
but
I didn't.
In a lot of them, especially from the Midwest, the lifestyle is way different. So their parents are like, well, they're either just kind of like humoring them, like, okay, well, go give it a shot, honey. And then they're probably, so how is it? You've been out there a year. Are you ready to come home? Or what are you, crazy?
Yeah, that was when I realized, like, oh, this is actually a really big pond.
It's a big pond.
Most of my time was spent in the valley.
Yeah,
I'm a valley kid. But there's a bigger stretch of LA. I always knew that, but like I didn't know that there was just people by the fucking thousands just coming here to do creative stuff.
Yep.
This
is the hub.
I figured that like, well, this is a group of artists supporting other artists. This is how it should be, right?
Yeah.
But that's not always the case. Like some people are selfish.
It's not, and we got the idea of the production bunch just to set it up. The production bunch was something me, Mikos Zavros, Kristen Gorlitz, and Scott Rosendahl, right? Us three, we were, and I think we went to another group that was kind of like doing what we were doing, but like there was some weird vibes in that group, and
well, that happens,
and drama-ish kind of stuff, and a couple people were draining and we thought, what, let's be more in control of this and just do it ourselves. So we put together the production bunch. So we said, all right, everyone has to pitch in for the production costs, which were minimal. Was it $20?
Right.
So everything we did was micro budget, mostly went to food, and then that's where I met you.
And that's what you're going to spend the money on anyway. Even if you got paid, it was to food.
It was to food, yeah. So it's a pay to play system, but where else you going to go to get work? You do the auditions and all that stuff.
You got to get on camera somehow.
You got to get on camera. You got to get
Yeah.
You got to get experience.
Yeah.
And you got to learn. Every actor should know what's going on behind the camera.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Right?
That's what I loved about it, is that everyone took turns doing something else. Because I thought that was more of like to show more gratitude to the other people working, because to make movies and stuff like that, you need an army.
You do need an army.
And you got to have each other's backs, and everybody's got a different gig. And there's a lot of people, like the actor to crew ratio, I believe, leans towards more the actor when it comes to people coming to this town.
Yeah.
You think a bunch of people are coming here to edit? Sure, but not as much as actors.
It's funny because I'll do some background once in a while to just fill in some gaps for money, and I kind of look at the crew, and you could tell that there's certain guys there.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty good looking guys, but they're getting a little older, and now they're on the crew, and I think to myself, wow, I bet he came here trying to be an actor.
Well, we all did.
Yeah, right.
We all sort of did.
Well, and sometimes you find yourself, sometimes this isn't for me, and but I don't, but I don't know what the.
It's a big mecca, though.
It's a big mecca.
There's no one way in.
I thought I heard there were like 3,000 people a month coming into this city. This was years ago. I heard this. I don't know if the numbers are. But of course, you've got people going back too. And going
people are moving to other places.
Austin. I was going to
Austin's
say,
one of those towns, yeah.
What's her name? Lee.
Lee. Yeah, she moved to Texas.
She moved to. I think she's in Austin.
She's in Austin.
Austin, right?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I keep tabs on her.
That's
she's doing a cool thing.
She is. She I guess she's doing music out there, and
that's a good spot.
That's a good artist mecca in that.
Yeah. Well, I
want to say Red State, but I think they're more purple now.
They're more
gonna
purple.
Flip blue
I enjoy that there other towns are at least stepping up their game, because not everybody's just flooding here now. There's
I have friends in Albuquerque.
Mm-hmm. I have family in Albuquerque.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a cousin that lives there.
I think Netflix is opening a studio there.
Ooh.
I think so. I think they bought a chunk of.
There's a lot of people writing scripts that are kind of based on barren wastelands, because it's really easy to shoot.
Well, there you go, right?
Yeah.
It's a post-apocalypse.
Yeah, that sort of thing. That sort of thing.
You put on some rags and you put on some goggles and gloves.
Sort of leave it to the imagination, whatever the apocalypse is, whatever
you're
that.
a scavenger in the post, So that's cheap and
dirt cheap.
We're at Atlanta, Georgia's, I guess, pretty much.
Yeah, Louisiana. New York, obviously.
New York took a lot of our.
Chicago's got their thing too.
Yeah.
But everywhere in the middle is just kind of nothing.
Nope.
And that's where those people are coming from. They're coming from Iowa. They're coming from Nebraska or whatever to make it out here, and there's a sense of naivety, and I'm just like, oh, jaded. But I've learned not to think that way anymore.
Yeah, no, I mean, you could get sour quick.
And doing those other jobs with the production bunch helped me have a greater gratitude to people who hold the boom. To
well,
people who
look,
do the slate.
All
the other jobs. It's not just going to be acting.
And you can tell the people that, I mean, it's one thing if it's not for you because the culture isn't right, but you will get people well, I'm an actor. I didn't come out here to.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't come out here to slap a slate or fix some lights, and I'm like, yeah, great. Neither did I.
Yeah,
but
you got to climb the ladder, bud.
Yeah, but that's what we're doing, and
I'm
going to toot my own horn a little bit, like some of those things I've done, and we lost contact because we did 3 versions of that, I think.
3 versions of what?
The production bunch.
Oh yeah.
Because we moved out to, we were in North Hollywood.
You moved.
You were okay.
I lived in North Hollywood.
You lived in North Hollywood,
and then you guys moved to Eagle Rock or something.
Eagle Rock, yeah. So you were in Buying the Farm.
Yes.
Yes. That thing.
Yeah.
That thing won a couple things. I
like that I like that story.
That was
tight.
a lot of fun.
That was very fucking
I wrote it and directed
just the whole what's
really
in the chest, that's.
Yeah, what's in the MacGuffin and then Emily was great.
Mm-hmm.
Mick and Alan and
I love that. Oh, I was such like I had my tail between my legs like the entire time, like just doing that whole thing because there's that scene where like she's wearing some revealing clothing and we got to put glitter on.
You got to
her.
put glitter on.
And I'm just like I'm being asked to put glitter on tits. And I have to do this in a professional way.
Somebody has to do that job.
Somebody's got to do that job. That's just so like, you know.
On tits.
I was raised by a single mother, and I'm just like, okay, Emily, I hate to ask you this question, but I have been instructed to put glitter on your tits. Is that okay with you? And she's like, yes, go ahead. I'm like, all right. And
Emily's great.
It's just I had to ask it in just such a because it's such an odd thing. Projects get odd, you know. You do,
but not really.
Not really. No,
not out here. It's not weird.
It's not odd, but it's just like the situation for you is like I'm putting glitter on tits.
Yeah, yeah.
Who else can say that?
Yeah. No, you know, I remember doing the show. I was talking about, you know, it's just one backstage thing, so everyone's getting, you know, and we had 2 shows and 2 groups. So the group in front of us would be in there half naked already, and you know, you just walk in, there's a girl in bra and underwear, and that's just, you know, that's how it goes.
Well,
and that's showbiz.
You open up to other things. Kristen was telling me about how like transgenesis evolved into the graphic novels. So,
the empties,
and like all of the stuff in between is just a stepping stone to that next thing.
Yeah.
And that could be a fucking home run. You know,
I mean,
you just got to keep cranking shit out, and that was the whole purpose. I think, you know,
it's about content.
It was to do it and get the content out there.
Content creation.
What can you do? Like I feel like I'm badgering people too much when I post about shows and stuff, but that's all I can kind of do right now if I'm not on the stage or doing something.
You know,
you got to get people to like your stuff.
Yeah,
and that's hard.
Yeah,
you know,
until you get a group. Media group, you know, media specialists and PR people.
I forgot to ask her about this when I was talking to Kristen. Is Mind weird? Do you have? And I'm asking you. I don't know, but like, what is that? Like, is that another idea? Like, is that another thing?
That's the production company.
Yeah,
that will be the parent company for her VR stuff.
Yeah, and that's not what it was. What the initial idea was before is that the idea evolves.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like, you know, the original idea for the Jaking Off show was a sketch comedy show. I was a teenager.
So this is
I was a kid.
This is an old thing.
This is an old idea. I kept the name and now it's just something else.
Well,
you know? And
well, who knows where it'll go? But,
I was a teenager. I mean, we didn't go to film school. We didn't know anything about script writing. Really, it was like we're just gonna point and shoot like a bunch of jackasses.
Everything I heard about film school is you dodged a bullet.
And a lot of it was very like because the stuff we were watching when I was a teenager was fucking Jackass and Viva La Bam.
Oh,
just
that's
like
right.
just people doing stupid shit.
stupid
just
shit. Tasing their balls or whatever the hell's going on.
And you know, it was a goof. It was fun, and that's what I mean. This is kind of like based on a goof too. But the whole point is to get other people's stuff out because you gotta. What else? How else are you gonna do it?
Yeah, there's a
because you have the internet. It's not like before where you have posters. You're just putting the poster for your thing above another guy's poster. It's just and it's all algorithms.
It's a double-edged sword, I suppose, because you know we have immense power with the internet. You know, at our
immense distraction too.
Immense distraction. So you know, these are the things you got to get straight in your head. But there's a way to use them. There's a way to get lost in them. And then, of course, it's inundated too with people like us that want to put stuff out there. So it's also, you know, you got, you know, very successful people that...
You still do photography?
You know, I haven't really done much. I want to, and I always think, no, I haven't really.
Because whatever you want to plug, I can put it in the link in the description.
Yeah, I haven't done. I've been writing scripts, and I still get Group Lotto was the last movie I made, and I'm still getting that into some contests or festivals and.
I never heard about Group Lotto.
Did you not hear about
I don't think so. Group Lotto, what's that?
So that was
something you did.
Yeah, I did two or three. Oh, let me think about this. I did 2 films after buying the farm, and that
Okay.
ended up being at the Glendale Eagle Rock location, and Group Lotto's about a we dressed the place up like a bar, and
Did I help you with sound on that?
you may have.
I may have.
So there's a really tall black guy who's like 6'5", really British, with a British accent. Vivi was his name.
Okay, that's not ringing a bell.
That's
but I
not
do.
ringing-
I do remember.
You'd have to
doing
remember
sound.
him because he's like
I do.
really tall.
Yeah, I would remember. I would remember a
dashing
big,
kind
tall
of.
dude.
Yeah.
No, I remember doing Boom for other stuff.
Okay, yeah.
But Group Lotto, I don't know what that was.
Okay, yeah.
What was it about?
So it was about, it's just a group of people in a bar, and this guy comes in, and he's like, goads everybody into playing a group Lotto game. He said, listen, we'll just pick a number and text it to each other. And if we get anything, that's common or whatever, we can write down, we can figure out what numbers to play, and then we'll just see what happens, just for fun, Well, when people start sending the text, each time they pick a number and send, it's the same number. And this happens like 5 times, So so Vivi, the guy I was talking about, was a math professor, So he's like, this is weird, this shouldn't happen, because statistically, it's almost an impossibility for this to happen. But it happens on everything. So people are getting wound up. Him and his wife are there, and they can't have kids. They need it in vitro. So they're thinking about, well, we can get money for the in vitro. And Allison plays, this kind of bimbo-y chick.
That's so not her.
That's so not her. She's
That's hilarious.
She's so, she hit it on the nail. She was really, so she, she hates her job because she has to, mess with the boss to keep her job. And then one guy's freaking out because this is something devilish, and it's almost like a Twilight Zone-ish episode. And then they finally get all the numbers, and then they go and buy the ticket. And when the numbers come in, it's not that number.
Huh.
Right. So now everybody's pissed off, and everybody storms out. And then at the very end, I play the lead guy, and I pull out the ticket, and I have the bartender read it, and those are the numbers that were read off on TV. So that guy had the winning lotto ticket in his pocket the whole time.
And he just watched it. He just let everyone go.
And he just let everyone. So it's
wow.
Yeah, it's a little.
Yeah.
It's
good. It's a little twisted.
It's a little twisted.
That's pretty crazy.
It's a little twisted. So it got in a few. I think it may have been a runner-up. I think I may have been nominated for Best Actor and Director.
That's tight, man.
Yeah,
well, you have something that what you told me is gripping.
Yeah.
A lot of people that make stuff. Was this a film festival that was just open genre?
I believe so. Yeah.
Just about anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think about it could maybe if there was like a Twilight Zone-ish festival.
Yeah. Like if it was specific to
very specific, but it's not really a horror. Maybe it's a thriller. It has kind of thrillery.
Well, it's
elements
gripping.
to
It takes you get taken for a little bit of a ride.
You do,
Yeah.
and there's some dynamics that happen with like if you see it, it's really I really like what happens because this guy named I think his name is Gabriel. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he Gabriel. He plays kind of this more religious guy, so he sees this as just like this isn't right.
They're the devils in this room.
And
he's losing it. Yeah.
And the girls gang up on him, and it's a sight to see because they do say because they're really badgering him. Be like, look, you just pick the number, man. We need the money,
Yeah.
And he ends up picking the number, and
spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Well, I mean, he has to pick the last number so that everybody has.
And is when you take something to a festival and it gets recognized of some sort, is that the end of the road? Is it time to work on the next thing, or do you expand on the same idea? Maybe it can go somewhere else. Maybe it can be extended to a feature or something like that.
Well, it depends on the idea,
the reaction too.
The reaction, and I mean, I don't know if I could keep up this kind of tension in a feature.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be tricky. I'd have to spend some time. Although I could spend some time on the intro of the characters, so we could get
Yeah.
their money needs.
Yeah.
Because the theme is that, despite the weirdness about the picking the same numbers, there's a theme about what would people do for money, and what are people that are oppressed kind of by our system. What kind of
another art imitates life.
Another art imitates life. Yeah. So that is an underlying theme in there. So
there's a movie called Would You Rather that has like a similar type of thing. Like there's a character that's a vegetarian, and then this guy throws 50 G's on the table. Like you need, like, in order to get this $50,000 cash prize money, you have to eat this steak.
Right.
Most people will be like, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna eat the steak." But this chick was a vegetarian, like devout, like very like about
vegan,
even,
vegan,
but she agreed to eat the steak for the money. And it was like a question of morality and things like that.
Well,
and then it increasingly got even more drastic and dramatic. But like that was like, oh, I can play this game too.
Yeah.
And the movie is called Would You Rather, and it starts out like, oh, we're fucking with someone's like belief system and fucking them up, and then it becomes like you shoot this man for this amount of money or whatever.
Yeah.
It was a crazy story.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's and that was like, I think I saw it on it was like on Netflix. I have a friend who's like a big like horror movie buff, and you run it. And I was talking to this about Kristen earlier, is that horror films or thrillers in general like have like this cult following. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It could just be something that's there.
Yeah.
And people will like it when they like it. It's this movie. This movie had Sasha Grey in it, or Sarah Grey, the porn actress, in it. Like
just the porn actress.
The porn actress. Like she did this movie.
Oh.
And the cast is like, no A-listers in particular. You ever notice that about horror films?
Yeah.
Like really good ones don't really have known faces in it.
No, not until they're older, and they're just trying to pick up, like the Winchester House, or what is that? What Anthony Hopkins did something about possession. The priest that was possessed.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
The Right.
The Right. Yeah. Oh boy.
But I guess
but like the good ones are more focused on the story rather than like the star that's in it.
Yeah, because I guess traditionally horror just never had been taken seriously. I think it's seen as exploitative in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe
Because what you tell me from Group Lotto is that it's a very gripping story, and who's in it doesn't apply because the story's.
It doesn't. It's just and everyone does a great job. Like the casting, I thought was done well, and everyone had their place in there, and everyone worked together well, so that and my writing has been more in that vein, because I wrote a feature earlier this year, and then I just wrote, because we have that writing group, so I wrote 2 shorter scripts, and they have the same type of vibe. One I wrote for Halloween, right? So it's about a kid who has an imaginary friend, right? And it starts out with him and his mother, and she's making him breakfast, goes to school, drops her off, and then it's the weekend, so her ex-husband has the kid, and then her friend Maria comes over with her boy. Well, her boy sees the imaginary friend too, right? And he tells his mom this, and are you sure, So they end up going back because Maria forgot her phone. So they go back, and his ex-husband's kind of, they're not divorced yet, but she's with a chick in bed. He gets a phone call from the main girl's doctor, right? Says, she hasn't been in to see us. We're worried about her. Maybe you could talk to her. He's like, okay, God. So he goes to her house to make sure she's okay, and meets Maria and her son there too. And she starts talking about, I just, and so she calls her ex-husband and says, I hope everything's okay. He's like, yeah, everything's fine. And he seems kind of weirded out by this. And his girlfriend's like, well, that was nice of her. That's weird. So he comes over and says, "Is everything fine? I got a call from the doctor. You haven't been to see him." She's like, "Oh, well, I'm fine. I'm fine." And then she starts talking about her day with the kid, because the kid comes in before the father does. "Hi, Mom," throws the bag on the chair and goes into his room. And they start talking, and then Maria's like, "Well, I got to go." And then it comes up that her boy is seeing this imaginary friend too.
Yeah.
And then, so
it's not quite explained yet.
It's
so
not
far.
quite
Yeah, it's
explained.
like,
So
this is
then,
weird.
should I give the spoiler? I guess so. But
If you want.
yeah, I know.
It's up to you, man.
Yeah, I mean, I might. God, see, I got a few movies I like to make. Shorts, of course.
Yeah.
Because those are the only things I can afford. But anyway, so
Well,
long
Amazon
story-
started in a garage, my friend.
Yeah, that's true.
So
anyways,
don't sell yourself short.
So once the husband starts understanding that his wife is talking about their son and the stuff, he goes in the bathroom and sees that none of the pill bottles, they're all full, yet they've been, she's like, "You're not taking your pills." And she's like, "I don't need them. I'm okay." And Maria's like, "Look, I think I should go." And he said, "What did he tell you about, Timmy's imaginary friend,
Mm-hmm.
So Maria's like, "This is really weird." And her son starts talking to the imaginary friend on the other side of the room. And then he follows him into Timmy's room. And so the mom is like, "Oh, okay, that's okay. He can meet Timmy." And that's when, you can see the husband kind of freaking out.
Oh, Jesus.
And it turns out that in the end, he asks the little boy, "Who did you see? What was his name? Was it Harold?" Because that's the name of it. He says, "Nope, it wasn't Harold." And he shows him a picture, and he's kind of knows that that's the picture, whoever the father showed the picture of on the phone.
Uh-huh.
So they come in, of course. Maria goes into the room like, "This is weird." And of course she looks in the room and like, there's nobody in there. She's like, "Okay, we're out of here."
It's like a dark Harvey.
Yeah, and a ball kind of falls off the bed.
Yeah.
She's "Okay, we're out of here."
Yeah.
So and the father chases him, and then at the end, he's like, "You know what's going on here, right?" "No, everything's fine. Timmy's fine. The breakfast is still on the table. It hasn't been eaten, and the bag that was thrown on the chair is not there."
Fuck. I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out of that house.
So what happened was Harold was there to help Timmy, quote unquote, cross over.
Mm-hmm.
So he says, Timmy's been dead for
that's
almost
fucked.
2 years now,
Oh,
and
man.
then it's kind of a sad ending too.
Yeah.
And then, the last scene is Timmy grabbing the ball, in the room.
Well, I like it when the ending doesn't always work out.
Well, yeah.
Have you seen?
It's not a Hollywood.
Have you seen Hereditary?
Oh yeah.
Dude, the end of that movie. There's no real resolution in a positive way. It just kind of gets more fucked.
It gets more.
It just gets more fucked. And I'm like, great. This is a great way to cap that. It just gets more fucked, and it's left to
Well, they're just
Whatever you
summoning
want.
this demon at the end of it. But
Yeah.
it had some great when.
But like, what happens after that? Does he go to town and just start
Yeah,
kicking
I don't
people
know.
off?
Yeah.
Like, what happens next? That's like the thing.
Which
in my
is the
brain.
kind of thing that you don't mess with. Like if you do a
Right,
part
right.
two,
If you go
the
part
reign
two
of
is-
Paimon. It's like
you make
no
it.
one cares.
You make it weird. There's those. I also talked to Kristen about the good bad movies.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah,
like-
yeah.
Stuff like Troll 2.
We
and
saw
like,
one last night called Hardware.
Okay.
Mark 13, Hardware. It's Dylan McDermott.
That name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's maybe he had a series or something. He's one of the hunks back then. And
It was one of those like, ugh, but it's hilariously bad.
no, it's there's some cool scenes. It's kind of and it's shot really weird. It's like I don't know if it's post-apocalypse. I guess it is because there's wastelands and people that pick up.
Probably
junk
shot in
and-
Albuquerque.
I wouldn't
Probably.
but it's like from the 80s.
So it's an older one.
It's a Coke movie.
Okay. Oh God.
It's when Coke money and mutual funds fueled the industry. Like they're just throwing around money to make.
Oh, what, like in True Romance, where there's that movie producer involved at the end, and there's just like fucking coke everywhere. It's just it's just all over the place.
I mean, it, like in the '80s, it was so frivolous. There was a lot of, like you see these ridiculous movies being made. So I think a lot of them just had to do with coke money and money laundering, and
just getting out there.
Just getting out. Let's make a movie, because it was hip to be a producer.
Anyone can say, "Oh, let's make a movie."
Yeah, it's different. The dynamics are different. There's so much money there now. The money is hard to get by, but the technology is here.
Yeah. Well, people are cutting cable. Like television's still really big, but it's lost a little bit of juice, I feel, because of like things like Netflix and Disney Plus, and those guys will. I mean, you can find really bad stuff on Netflix if you go looking for it.
For sure.
There are terrible things, and you think, how did they greenlight this?
Well, they were independent because they were independent filmmakers.
Some of them are trash. Some of them are good.
Yeah, I mean, just because you're independent doesn't mean you're going to put out
right.
Or sometimes they try to put out an art house piece.
An art house piece.
But yeah, I've turned off stuff on Netflix for sure, and I know that they're independent. I hate to say that about independent films, but I try to support it when I can. But they got whatever money out of Netflix, which wasn't much, I'm sure.
And that's such a crazy thing too. Is that like Netflix comedy specials are a thing that it used to be that the top comics would get an HBO special. Your George Carlins, your Robin Williams, or whatever. And that was and now you could find a special anywhere. There's a whole slew of
and I don't
Netflix is greenlighting that shit. They're writing checks.
Yeah, but you know what? You could do your own these days. You rent out a theater and you get three cameras.
What my idea is the next realistic goal really is to do something, but I'd have to get a street team. I have to get like a following. I need to get people first.
Sure,
we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But the idea is, I want to call my first special "Here Comes the Dumb." Put on the Beatles song. I want it to be called "Here Comes the Dumb." And the cover is just like the Abbey Road cover,
right?
But it's for dumb guys like, I don't know, Michael Vick or George Bush or whoever the fuck. Like, it's question, but Michael Vick is definitely going to be like on that. But
make him Paul McCartney.
Make him Paul McCartney.
Yeah, with bare feet.
But that's just I want to I would have to put it on YouTube because there's a comedian by the name of Andrew Schultz who releases his specials only on YouTube. And because he gets a lot of viewers, he gets that YouTube money.
There you go. Yeah.
And it's 100% independent, all under his control.
Well,
and that's what we all want, right? We all want control.
Well, there's so many.
When you make stuff, you need an army, and people's egos get in the way. And
Seed and Spark had a little.
I remember Seed and Spark.
Yeah. So did you know that? I guess I'm plugging them because they did a little free thing where you go and the CEO spoke to us and she said 80% of Seed and Spark gets financed, 80% of the projects.
Nice.
And they also have people will give cameras and and lighting equipment. You can do that in lieu of money.
Yeah.
So
you could rent it.
No, people donate. Said okay, you can So it's really so it's a good way to connect and to interproduce whatever. But whereas with like Kickstarter, they only have a 37% success. Isn't that crazy? But she also started talking about
is Seed and Spark more derivative to filmmaking?
I think
whereas Kickstarter can be kind of anything.
Kickstarter could be a video game or an ab crunch machine or something.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
The Gut Buster.
Some guy has an invention.
Yeah, some guy has an invention for keeping your nose hairs short.
Seed and Spark is more like film.
They're film oriented, and
that's why it works.
Well,
because it's geared to a specific thing.
Yeah, I think that's smart. Yeah, and, but she started talking about distribution and films that had sold their films for distribution and got something up front. It generated more money, and then there's middlemen. You get a sales agent; they got to take 10% plus costs. If they're going to stay in a hotel during AFM, then you're paying for those hotel costs and their meals plus 10% of whatever you get out of it. And then and then the Netflix deals aren't that good. They're gonna just give you a flat something buyout, and sometimes they'll own your shit. So you got to be careful what you sign. But there's so many people in between you and that goal, and it's the same way with actors. Actors come here, and it's like you need to get headshots. They clamp down a lot on the agent showcases. They did a clamp down.
War flashbacks here.
Yeah, right. You could spend a lot of money. So there's always somebody in between you and that goal, and it's like, yeah, I'll help you out. I need it. Of course, it's a service, right? So they take a little bit of cash, but we got to get rid of those middlemen. We got to go straight somehow. Get your
content
own team.
Creation. It's possible.
Well, that's the first step, and a lot of that has gotten back into the artist's control, which is the good thing about technology. So we have content control, and then so the next thing is how do we market? So marketing and that's going to be your next step.
Yeah, how to get it out there.
Marketing team, and you got to know something about it.
My initial strategy as of now, it's the same with comedy. It's just do it. Just get on stage and just do it.
Put out the material.
And just put it out, and other ideas are going to happen while you're continuously putting out a podcast once a week or twice a week.
You saw I was inspired earlier by. I don't think the conversation was on.
Were we off air?
"Quote unquote" tape, but
tape. Tape.
I think we roll the tape.
Where is this tape? This mysterious tape of which you speak?
It's in the ether. Ones and zeros.
Oh yeah, was it? No, I was talking to Kristen about like just as a knickknack, like have a VHS tape copy of the empties. The tape contains nothing. It's just like artwork,
Oh yeah.
Just to have it out there, like yeah, just like something. Because I was talking to her about merch, and I have to like get a street team. I have to get known out there. I got to put my stuff out, and all I can do is just do it. And a podcast, I can operate this by myself. It's just doing it. In terms of how to grow it, well, I'll figure that out. I'm still crossing the bridge,
Well, you're getting the tech stuff down here.
I'm getting the tech stuff down. That's what most of it's been. But it's the thing is that I plan on doing this until the wheels fall off.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna do it, and
that's it.
It takes my mind off of. I'm more focused on the now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know what it's gonna be in the future. It'll be better than this, obviously. Well, it's better than this is episode 27. 28, whichever. Oh, but nice. It is phenomenally better from the first one if you go back and look. Because went back and looked and went, oh, man.
You're going to have that.
Yeah.
You're always going to have that.
And you're going to have bad sets, and you're going to have and someone's going to tell you your film sucks. People are going to tell you their opinion or whatever. But as long as you don't give up and just keep doing it, who gives a fuck? Art
and comedy is an art form, too.
Yeah.
It's subjective.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
Not everybody thinks... what's his name? Louis C.K. is funny.
I love him.
No, I love him. I think he's hilarious.
Yeah,
and he's smart. And not everyone's going to think,
different flavors.
Andrew Dice Clay is funny. Yeah. Different strokes
for different folks.
That's right.
Is that from a TV show?
It could be a TV show.
I think that's from a TV show.
Different Strokes was a TV show.
It was a TV show?
Yeah, that's where the little black kid...
Is that what you talk about, Willis? This is
what
beyond
you talking
my
about,
time.
Willis? Yeah,
this is beyond my time, and I only know it like just from older people referencing it. Right. Somebody told me, maybe you might get this, but before we dip out, but someone thought I looked like Horseshack from Welcome Back, Kotter, and I don't know what that is at all. I know it was a show.
Mr. Kotter.
Yeah, I heard that was a show in like the 80s or something, but and I looked it up and went, Horseshack.
Horseshack. Maybe if you,
Welcome Back, Kotter. And I see it a little bit. But I feel like if I reference that on stage, I don't think it'll work at all.
No, not with this crowd.
That's because that show's so old.
John Travolta was in that show.
He was in that show?
That's what made him the first time around.
Was this before Saturday Night Fever?
It was before, I believe so. And Grease. Yeah, I believe so. I think, he was on TV, and he was Vinnie Barbarino.
Yeah.
He always go, what?
You probably didn't see where it could go. The stuff that you're writing now that you've worked on before, or like something you wrote ages ago, it could come back and.
Well, I felt like
it could
back
become something.
not sound boomerish, but like back in those days, I felt like you had a hard time getting a show on unless everyone had like the ensemble work together.
Yeah.
And I think somewhere around the 90s, if you look at sitcoms, like it's not like the talent went anywhere, but and it's probably a directing thing where they just wanted to just like throw out X amount of jokes in one episode, and like the timing went out the window, which is so important in comedy, and you know, and the gags. Well, once
you could tell what shows were laugh tracks and what shows were generally from an off.
Yeah, but you can tell because like a lot of the kids are like, haha, I'm real cute, listen to this. And they just spit out something and you're like, there's no timing there, and you can't always blame the actor because there's a director there going, okay, just do that faster and let's move on or something. You know? So I'm not trying to put it on anyone's show, but the literal content of the show, and a lot of the really heavy stuff, like from All in the Family, and even actually Welcome Back, Kotter had an episode where one of the girls got pregnant. And
that's a heavy one.
That's heavy. So they had, you know, John Travolta, they had Horshaw, Epstein. Epstein would always have a note from his mother why he missed class. Dear Mr. Kotter, signed Epstein's mother, you know, and he'd be. That was a gag. And
I was talking to Kristen about that earlier. How one single emotion can't drive a show or can't drive. You need to like go another route sometimes to balance things out. And sitcoms, when they're on a while, like they're funny, they're giggles and gaggles and shit. But there's that one episode that's like, oh, we're gonna talk about something a little serious now.
Yeah, like
for one episode, just to broaden it out.
All in the Family. I believe All in the Family had an episode where Archie saves. In his cab, he was a cab driver. So Archie Bunker saves a woman. She had a heart attack or something. Gave her mouth to mouth. Well, towards the end of the show, he's like, "Well, what should I call you? Is it Miss or Miss? I know you broads like to be." You know, it's kind of feminism was really starting to take great. She was, "Well, why don't you call me Mister?" And pulls off the wig. You know, and he's like freaking out because he's like some Republican. You know?
Yeah,
you know about that.
Archie Bunker is. Yeah,
but like, later on, she came back 2 more times in the season, and in one episode they get jumped. Michael and her, or him, her, you know, but they get, and then she ends up dying.
Oh no,
that was sad, but like it was like Norman Lear, man, he really tackled, and that was like the first time you heard or saw any of that on show, and she was a positive thing too, because she wasn't a joke. Right, because it was always a trope, you know, like, oh, let's dress up like, you know, girls, or here's the gay guy. That's not old either, because the movie Some Like It Hot was like 30 years before that, you know.
Tony
Curtis.
Guys and
Tony Curtis.
The music, the play Guys and Dolls. I don't know how old that play is, but there's like that's an old thing.
It is an old thing.
People freaking out over that, like, come on, turn back the clock a little bit.
Well, I said the 20s, right? We're talking about the roaring 20s, especially in Germany, but like you go back to Rome and Greece, you know, there was all kinds of stuff going on there.
Yeah, this ain't new.
And unfortunately, you know, it's the Christian value system really vilified sex. And that's a shame. It's a shame. It's the worst of Christianity. It is.
What was it? It was 1,000 years of oppression, heresy. Was that what it was? Like scientific advances came to a halt.
Yeah, I think we could. I believe
that had it not happened, we would be more advanced.
I think we could. Something? I think we lost like 1,000 years of science. There was the Dark Ages, right?
Right, that's what I mean.
You know, Galileo was in prison because he said, "Well, the sun isn't going around us; we're going around the sun."
Yeah, and people were like, "What? You're crazy."
Yeah, I think, and many of our brightest minds of the earth were burned at the stake or put in a dungeon, and you know, books were burned, and it's horrific. So hopefully we're growing out of that now.
Oh, I hope so. But we get nature's telling us something, and we're not fucking listening. Yeah, we're not listening. There's I could see a way out for us as a civilization to prosper one day.
Well, listen, I think things are, despite the challenges we have, a lot of things have gotten better. And
it's the best it's ever been now, if you think about it, you know.
Look, you know, the appendix is a time bomb.
Yeah.
It's a time bomb.
Yeah.
So, like, how many people just died of appendicitis? Teeth. Teeth were a big deal.
People get it removed and shit.
People, yeah, that didn't happen until I don't know what late 1800s. Maybe they were starting to doing surgery, but like up until then, you had appendicitis. Like what are you gonna do?
You drop
dead. You die of sepsis. That's an ugly death. So, that alone, and then vaccinations.
Yeah, we should go back to killing. Too many of us. We need like another good old purge.
That's an issue too. That's we're gonna have to deal with.
That's not the solution, but it's a solution.
Well, again, listen, a healthier attitude towards sex would, right? Because there are people that are doing natural birth control, which isn't birth control. It's just but if God gives us the kid,
from what I hear, it really messes with a woman's menstrual cycle. Birth control pills, like they mess with like your innards and shit. Like I don't know.
They can, but listen, I've dated women who've taken birth control for years, and it's not. They're still alive today.
Yeah.
So and some people can't take it.
Yeah.
And some people need it because their hormonal thing is all whack. So some people need to take birth control just to be normal and balanced out. And and those women are vilified. You're a whore. You're taking birth control.
Yeah, that's such a crock of shit, man. Because like that's how we make people. How can you repress making people? Because that's like that's why we're all here.
Yeah.
Someone, and that's it. That's it. That's why we're here. Why suppress that? I don't know. I wasn't raised around that. I wasn't raised religious. I wouldn't know.
Well, it's easy to control and use as guilt because once society adopts, well, you have to have it under these circumstances. You have to be married, and you have to be over 18, and and then it's like, oh, you're not operating in that, and then the shunning system is very strong. We're breaking that cycle. When
the robots take over, I think that's when we will truly unite. Is that we got something that's...
Imagine if robots needed us, and they're like, listen, guys, we'll take care of everything. You just go back to fucking.
Right.
Right? And just make one big Garden of Eden. We just screw each other, and they take the babies.
And we just accept that? If a robot told me that you're just here to fuck,
you're here to fuck. And make sure you smoke marijuana because it's good for your, it's a good psychological.
Oh man! Speaking of weed, we're an hour in. We're gonna go in a second here.
Okay.
But one last thing because you have you're a very wise man, and I appreciate your insight.
Thank you.
What do you think the government will slowly legalize weed federally? And fuck with it to make us even more docile and more accepting of our situation? For them to do whatever they want to do in the shadows.
Well, here's the thing: the military has already tried, right? They tried LSD, and they tried and they tried marijuana, and none of this stuff makes us into the violent baboons they want us to be.
It's got good stuff and bad stuff.
It's got good stuff. So I think they've already thought it out. Nixon started this war mainly to suppress the leftists.
Yeah.
Right? Because those are who smoke pot, like nowadays, I have a staunch Republican, quote unquote, for an uncle. He's been smoking pot for years,
So do I.
Right? Yeah. So, but largely it's to target the left wing and to suppress them. Oh, marijuana, you're going to jail. So now, that's what the whole thing was about. So I feel like that's the route they took.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they'll turn and say, "Well,
it's not that bad."
Maybe I don't know, but I think.
But then you have to atone for what you did before. Let's say pot becomes federally legal.
Yeah.
There's people that are still doing time for selling weed.
Some of them have been let out. But
get those guys out first.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about legalizing it and all the awful things that the government did to perpetrate the war on drugs and all that stuff. It screwed over entire communities and people.
Entire communities, entire.
It's like the stoners that are like, oh, legalize, let's do it.
There are many people in Colombia that grow cocaine, and that's what they do. That's their chief export. And of course, we could talk about the CIA and cocaine and how they use that to. Filter arms to different countries that they want to take over subversively. But, we don't have time.
That's the H.W. Bush powder.
The H.W. Bush powder. That guy bankrupted an oil company. He did. He ran it into the ground. He must have snorted it all. Of course, that's not the worst because Trump bankrupted a casino.
Yeah.
Like how.
Yeah. That's a whole other thing, man. It's crazy. You know, and you think we're gonna be all right, and then like some other fucking loon just comes in.
Let me end with this.
Yeah.
I just think that this stuff that's coming up now, this just utter nonsense that's going on. I want to say that this is the last throes of this type of
The last rose.
the last throes
Throws.
the throes
Okay.
of death. Like people are screaming.
Okay.
They don't want to change. They don't want to use pronouns that they don't like. They don't want. They've already lost. Listen, every major social advancement had to be fought for by the left and suppressed by the right, and the right loses every time. They
And in
lose
sports.
every time.
Yeah.
Every time. They didn't want blacks to vote. They didn't want women to vote. They didn't want blacks and whites to get married. They don't want gays to get married. Every time they lose, and they'll lose now, I promise you. This Trump idiot, he's going away, and all these people are going to be exposed for what they are. We're woke. We can't let the genie back in the bottle. So
I agree with you.
All right.
All right. It's been wonderful. We all know where Mikos stands now.
It's been great. Yeah,
I love you, man. I appreciate you. No, I
Thank you.
appreciate
Thank
your
you.
insight. I appreciate your wisdom.
and I've always appreciated your hard work on
Thank
our
you.
sets. So
Thank you.
if I ever get money to make anything, you'll always have a job on set.
Thank you. Thank
Right.
you. I appreciate it. And
All
I'm
right.
sorry I ignored the last one because I got the ulcerative colitis, but that's a whole other issue.
Well, that's
it's a whole other issue.
That's a whole
yeah.
other issue.
We that's that low hanging fruit, man. It's that low hanging fruit. All right. Hey, thanks. Bye.
Yeah.